just sticking with the subject of mental health and COVID-19, is obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a very physical, hands-on sport. You sweat on each other.
Yeah.
It's a gross sport in terms of body liquids will potentially
Yeah.
end up on you at some point or another. And obviously, with COVID-19 and, as Tom stated earlier, the lockdown restrictions, that's very hard to come by in a safe environment at this moment in time. But the question I want to ask you, Tom, is how has your mental health been, obviously, with not being able to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Because this, I presume, is your primary sport at this moment in
Yeah.
time when COVID happens.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Yeah. Although I've wanted to be training like Muay Thai and boxing for quite a while. I haven't got around to joining the club. So yeah. So at the time, like before, obviously lockdown happened, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was my uh yeah, I'd say escape. I would say from just like the laborious sort of life that you have. Like, um, yeah, it's tough, especially like you're saying. Like you forget little things with Jiu Jitsu. Like a lot of technique can be like there's a lot that can be used like with just your head. Like you can like press up against someone and you can like essentially put it's called like a crossface where if someone's like not if someone's not giving up a position, you can like make it uncomfortable for them. So one way of doing that is literally like using this part of your head and like just pressing it up against them, like putting pressure on with your head. And obviously, you can't do jiu-jitsu without a 2 meter like radius or 1 meter. It's just impractical. Um, but yeah, just going back to the point, the whole mental health thing, yeah, it's tough. The way I've been able to get around it is I've started running, which is something I never really thought I would do. Like, I'm not a massive big fan of cardio. I hated running. I'd always try and escape it if I could, and I feel like that was part of the problem. And I maybe my opinion of running hampered my ability to actually go out and do it. But yeah, as like a replacement, although it can't change. Like it won't be a great substitute for what jiu-jitsu would be, knowing how I like to, how what I like about the sport and stuff. But I've just have to make do and start running because it's such a big loss as well. Like the whole thing, like you've got the social aspect of seeing your friends and rolling with them. You've got your training partners as well. Like like I had one guy that I was training with at the Wigan place, um, and we'd started this like beginners course because I'd never done gi before. I'd only ever done no gi, so it was the first time I was doing like collar chokes and stuff like that. I'd never done that at uni, so I'd started at the very bottom with this guy, and we were getting on really well, and we'd train with each other like basically twice a week, and that to have that like taken away from you, then it does leave quite a big hole. The same with like generally seeing your friends. You can't really do it in lockdown. You're sort of stuck in your house. You want to do something. Like the amount of times I've been like saying, "Oh, Dad, can we like mat out our garage or something? Can I like show you how to do jujitsu or something?" It's like any excuse to get it going. I've got one friend who's in Switzerland. He's so lucky. Like the restrictions have been quite different to ours. And he was lucky that his sister also trains, and they're both at a Gracie affiliated gym in Zurich. And they've got like a matted out, like their conservatory, they've essentially matted out. So he has people round every weekend to train. Like he's not stopped. Like he's not having like, tuition, but he's able to roll and stuff. And I feel like that's something I'm so jealous about. I just can't wait to roll with someone, even if I get my ass kicked like the first time, which I undoubtedly would. It's just that sort of like it's that sort of feeling you don't get from many other sports. Like jiu-jitsu, like we were saying before about this like welcoming environment. It's because there's no ego, or at least there shouldn't be ego. Like although there is obviously a hierarchy of belts, like you do have, like there is a black belt is more respected and more important than a white belt, but it shouldn't really be, it shouldn't really like end. It should really end at that. Really, like everyone should feel like they're a part of the club in the same way and rolling with each other. Like I roll with purple belts, and I know that they're like so further ahead of me ability wise. But even then, like you just get humbled. Like someone, you do something, you try and get a position, you lose it, you end up getting submitted. Like you are essentially submitting to someone. It's a humbling experience. Um, and I think that's the difference between MMA and jiu-jitsu is the ego aspect.